What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the New York Sports Take, episode number 26. My name is Matt O'Connor. I'm in a very warm and beautiful Dayton, Ohio today. It's like 75 and sunny. Everybody roaming around camp. I'm in a t-shirt right now. Everybody on campus, shorts and a t-shirt. Spring is here. Baseball is back. March is mad. So much happening in the sports world this weekend. Great action from all over. It's a jam-packed episode. Ton to get into. But got to lead off asking my partner here, Andrew Nadler. How you doing? How you feeling, my friend?
I'm great. As you said, the springtime is here, and it's beautiful out. It's sunny, the weather's great, and I'm doing amazing.
And you were at opening day. A
I was
beautiful
at
day at
opening
City
day.
Field, too.
75 and sunny, perfect baseball weather. I wasn't ready for the heat. I haven't seen the sun since September.
Right. Yeah. No, you know what's funny about opening day this year? It was like, it was just about as,
Ideal
especially for New
baseball
York,
conditions you can get.
just about as nice as an opening day you could get. And then we regressed right back to regular March temperatures the day after. It was like
Yeah.
40, and then it was back to early season baseball here in New York. But
Yeah.
a perfect opening day. We will talk about the Mets and the Yankees too later on in the show. But we got to start with this absolutely maddening UConn Duke game last night. I got to be honest with everybody here watching. I only caught about the last 5 or 6 minutes of this game. It was such a blowout. Duke was winning by 19. I think it was like a 16-point game at the end of the first half. So I was tuned out by then, watching YouTube, doing whatever I was doing. And then my roommate, who had a bet on the game, knocked on my door. He's like, "Come on in, watch the end of this game. This is getting sick." And then the real ending to that game was just about as good as an ending as you can ask for in college basketball. What a shot from Mullins. We're going to break it all down. We're going to break down the unbelievable mistake that was made by Caden Boozer there at the end that was ultimately the fatal flaw and cost him this game. But Drew, it's just hard to think about with this Duke team. I mean, it felt like this year was probably different. And we use that notion in sports a lot when we refer to the Yankees on a yearly basis and the Bills and all these teams that are perennially really good teams. Then they get to the playoffs and crumbling seems to always take place. For Duke, it's been hard to wrap your mind around their historic chokes year in, year out. Last year, they held a big lead against Houston in that Final Four game. That was Cooper Flagg's, lone season as a Blue Devil. So a great opportunity to win the NCAA tournament that year. They reached the Final Four. They choke a lead to Houston, lose that game. The year before that was,
They choked against 11-seeded NC State.
11-seeded NC State. That was what? That was in the Elite Eight as well, or maybe this?
Yeah, I think it was in the Elite Eight.
Right, Elite Eight, historic choke to Long Island's very own Michael Connell. Whatever his face is, punched on DJ Burns.
Funny story about Michael Connell, really quick. Friend of the program, Aiden Smith, and other co-host Andrew Huber, were all on the Long Island Railroad coming home from St. John's, Georgetown. And all of a sudden, Aiden goes, "Is that Michael Connell?" I'm like, "What?" He goes, "He was the point guard on NC State in the year they went to the Final Four." I'm like, "No way!" And he gets off the train. He's like getting up to get off the train. Aiden goes, "Michael Connell," and he looks up and he goes,
Wow.
Yeah,
Very cool.
what?
Yeah, no, Long Island's very own. Went to brother with my high school. Actually sat next to him in a class. So, but Duke, they choked to them. And then this year, up by 19, up by 15 at half, like I said. And Coach Shire's group drops this one as well. Crazy to think about. Duke, it felt like to me, they were the ultimate blue blood this year. Similar to the last year in the sense that you have, presumably, maybe Boozer's not the number one overall pick, but a top pick in this year's prospective draft class and all the pieces in place to go out there and win it. And they don't get it done. Let's go to the sequence here where things really unraveled for the Blue Devils. It was Duke 70, UConn 69. I'll take you right there. anybody's game, up for grabs. Alex Karaban hit a big three to pull it within one at that point, which was the closest that they've gotten in the second half. By the way, Duke, another crazy thing, wrap your mind around. Duke was winning in the second half for 19 minutes and 59.4 seconds, or 0.6 seconds until the 0.4, and then they choked that away. So it's 70 Duke, UConn 69, and it looked like Duke went back in control after that. Cameron Boozer, spinning layup, 28.9 seconds left, makes it a 3-point game. So for all that's gone wrong for them, even though they've choked away this huge lead in the second half in which UConn's physicality dominated, they get themselves back in this game. They get to the free throw line at will. Now they're up 3 with 28.9 to go. 10 seconds left. They're really in great position. Boozer fouls DeMary, who makes the first shot and misses the second. By the way, side note, across the landscape of all these March games, I don't know any of these kids that can knock down a pair of free throws. Seems like the impossible task for everybody. So he misses that shot. At this point, we got a 1-point game. Duke's up, and they inbound the ball. A lot of questions as to why Evans wasn't in the game for them at this point in time. But they inbound the ball. They get it to Caden Boozer, the younger of the Boozer brothers. And at that point, this is the play that everybody's talking about. It's at his, not quite at midcourt, but almost at midcourt. The ball's in Boozer's hands. And you have the two UConn defenders that were blitzed, and they were all the way up, hands in the face, almost like a blocked field goal attempt is what it looked like to me. I can't remember the name of the Huskies' hands that it goes off of at that point, but it goes off of his hands. It finds its way, it deflects to Mullins, who is the hero. Mullins takes it up court, passes it to Karaban. Karaban hesitates. Now, Karaban, he struggled in this game 3-point shooting, but he hits the last three. So I'm thinking to myself, he's going to pop this. But he hesitates. He gets it back near midcourt to Mullins, and Mullins has to heave this up at this point because the time's running out. So it's a 30-foot bomb. It's at the S logo on the March Madness side logo there. And he throws this thing up completely majestic, completely hysteric, completely unbelievable, nothing but net. You can't believe it, and UConn goes ahead with 0.4 seconds. And from that point, was it 0.4 or 0.6, whatever it was a formality at that point. Duke chucks the ball in deep down court, ball gets batted around, the buzzer sounds, and UConn wins this basketball game. But Drew, I got to ask you, I understand the emotions, the heightened emotions, your head spinning. Shire, by the way, the Duke coach was encouraging Caden Boozer to throw the ball down the court, to overhead heave it. But it's just hard to wrap your mind around. I keep using that term too because this whole thing's hard to wrap your mind around as to why Boozer doesn't just hold on to the ball there, take the foul, and take the free throws. Game's virtually over if you do that. They have to foul. They're down. So even if you miss one free throw, because it was a 2-point game, so even if you miss one of those free throws, you're still guaranteed they can only send it to overtime. Just felt like not the right move to try and throw the ball over those two defenders' hands when you're in complete control.
Yeah, I agree. I watched it a couple of times. I'm like, it makes no sense. So they inbound it to Cam Boozer. He gets blitzed. Passes it to Caden, and then he gets blitzed. So I think he panicked.
He definitely panicked.
Yeah, it looked like he panicked. He's like, oh shit. And throws it. It gets batted down, and then, writing's on the wall. But it's like, he never had to cross half court. They could have just held the ball, take the foul, take your foul shots. It's just, they invent ways to lose. It's every year at this point. You look at them, it's like, how are they going to choke it this year? And you made the analogy earlier. It's like the Buffalo Bills. They have all these high expectations, and they get to the postseason and fall on their face.
They fall on their face. And by the way, the guy who tipped the ball for UConn there, it was DeMary, the guy that went 1 of 2 at the line. Great job by those UConn defenders. I don't think anybody out there is giving UConn's defense enough credit. That was a really good blitz who was smart, and they made him feel all the pressure. Also, just thinking about this, I heard somebody else say this today. Boozer didn't have to go over the top. If you are going to go over the top, you should probably throw it straight up and try and hit like the Jumbotron. Just throw it as high as possible.
Yeah, he could have skipped past it.
He could have done that, or he could have bounced it off one of them. He did the only thing in that situation that you
don't do when the defender's hands are like this, straight up into the air.
Right, and Shire, their coach, he's got to take some blame for it too. I don't even know if Caden was looking at Shire in that moment, and that's the reason he did it. I don't think it was.
He probably couldn't see him.
Yeah, what?
He probably couldn't see him.
He probably couldn't see him, but definitely the last thing you could do in that situation. And look, at the end of the day, too, you feel horrible for the kid.
Yeah, of course. He's 18 years old. He's a true freshman, and I will give him credit after the game. He did speak to the media, which some professionals wouldn't even do that. So I'll tip the cap to you. You showed professionalism, and you took full accountability, and you said, that's on me. And that's very respectable.
Yeah, it is. And look, at the end of the day, we're all human beings. We all have empathy.
Yeah.
If you make a mistake like that in that moment, and you are talking to people, I don't care who you are, media, family, coworker, after you make that monumental of a mistake or whatever, and you got a bunch of people in your face asking, how do you feel, which is exactly the question that the reporter asked after the game, is how do you feel? You can't help but feel bad for him when he broke out. He broke out, the tears started flowing down, the dam was broken, and the only word that he can mouth after that was terrible. I mean, he simply felt terrible about what happened, and at that point, it was about 45 minutes after the game, he had realized the magnitude of what happened. He said, I ruined our season. I don't know how else I could put it other than that. So, I mean, and listen, going into this tournament, I wasn't aware of Caden Boozer's level of play. I didn't know how good this kid really was. I knew Cameron was the main show, who left this game with a black eye. But I wasn't aware that Caden was a solid rotational piece for this team. And like you said, I mean, true freshman and everything like that. So it sucks, but a lot of plays went into this that led up to it too. You got to give credit to UConn, who just chipped and chipped and chipped away. As I mentioned, they were down 19 late in the first half. They got it to 15 at half. But they got to the line at will. They didn't shoot really outstanding from the stripe, but they kept getting there. Their physicality was outstanding. The threes, they were 1 for 19 in the first half from downtown.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievably bad.
Yeah, there's a video out there, post-game, Dan Hurley's in his press conference, and they told him that. He just covers his face and he goes, please don't tell me that.
Yeah, no, totally. It was...
Yeah, it was so funny. Like an all-timer. And then UConn, they finished 4 or 5 from 3 to close out the game.
4 or 5, the big one coming on to the hands of Mullins. We'll get to him in a little bit. But Terrace Reed Jr., you got to give credit to him. He was their best overall player in this game. He was most outstanding player of the East region. And he carried if UConn, this lead could have been, they could have been in a bigger deficit in the first half if it wasn't for him. He had a team high 26 points, 9 rebounds. The threes, like you said, 5 of 6 to close it out there. So even after that woeful start, that's been UConn's calling card all year. They're a 3-point shooting team. You figured if they were going to somehow come back and win this one, that would be part of it. But look, man, what a game. And this Mullins guy, another freshman as well, from the state of Indiana. So he will be returning home to play in this Final Four game against Illinois. What an outstanding shot. The confidence to let that fly right away. I know he saw the clock probably at that point in time and realized he had to heave it.
Yeah.
But such great shot for him on that 30-foot bomb and nothing but net. You give him massive credit. He had a pretty quiet afternoon, all afternoon long for them. But Danny Hurley singing his praises after the game, calling him kid with such great guts and will and grit. And what a moment for him. He was just, as any of us would be, he was ecstatic after the game. It was really a whirlwind of a finish. Heard people out there saying today that it was more crazy than the Christian Laettner shot.
Yeah, the one against Kentucky all those years ago.
All those years ago, I think in the early 90s.
Yeah, it was in the 90s. Funny enough, I saw a video of this on Instagram when Rick Pitino did an interview with Dan Katz of Barstool Sports, and he goes, "That's like my biggest regret ever in coaching, was that play against Christian Laettner, where I told them don't foul, so they hesitated when they sandwiched him in, and he
Right.
gets it, gets the shot, and makes it." Pitino goes, "That's my biggest regret. I should have just told them knock it down."
Exactly, and Bettino has lamented that forever. He's talked about it in a lot of interviews and stuff like that. But that was Rick Pitino, one of the great coaches, college and even a decent pro coach of all time. That was probably the most gut wrenching thing he suffered.
Yeah, he says it still haunts him to this day.
And he unfortunately could not get revenge against Duke as they fell to the Blue Devils 80-75.
34 minutes of perfect basketball, and then they crumbled.
Yeah, and then they crumbled. But just putting a bow on this UConn game, they will tip off against Illinois in the Final Four. Drew, when's the Final Four? What night?
I think it's Saturday.
Saturday. I would imagine. It's either Friday or Saturday.
Yes, Saturday night.
Yeah, they're usually on Saturday.
UConn and Illinois tips off at 6:10.
Yeah, so you'll see that. It's one of those sports moments for me, like, I'll never forget. You know, I'm a casual college basketball fan. I'm sure as hell not a UConn fan.
Yeah.
I'll never forget where I was watching that, man. I was in my roommate's room watching that, and we're all sitting on the couch right next to each other. And as soon as Mullins hits that, it goes through the net. We all just jump up. And my roommate, he had bet on UConn when they were down bad, down double digits. Threw $10 on them. He won 300, so he was pretty happy about that.
Yeah, that's something to be happy about.
Yeah, and just
Yeah, funny
absolute
enough.
hysteria.
When I saw it, the first thing that came into my mind was Bill Raftery, Major Onions.
He had a good. You know what's great about all this stuff too is all the different reactions you see on social
Yeah, like
media.
there's a video on Instagram. It's Iron Eagle, Grant Hill, and Raftery. Raftery and Grant Hill. It looks like their soul just like left their body.
Right? Yeah.
Eagles going nuts. They're like. Then
Yeah.
Raftery is talking, and he goes, "And Major Onions."
It was great.
It's great.
Yeah, I saw that same video. I think CBS put it out there.
Yeah,
It's like,
CBS
we thought,
Instagram.
we thought we almost lost Bill Rafferty.
Yes,
And,
that's the one. He's like
Yeah.
stunned. He's like,
Yeah. He could barely mouth the words "Major Onions." He was just like "Major Onion."
it looked like his soul like left his body.
Yeah, but yeah, great, just a classic. We'll never forget it. Awesome. The Blue Devils go down in heartbreaking fashion once again as well. Another team that advanced to the Final Four was your Michigan Wolverines. They absolutely manhandle the Tennessee Volunteers. Final 95-62. Drew, this really wasn't much of a competition from start to finish. Maybe from start, I guess.
The first 5
in the
minutes was close.
First 5 to 7 minutes, I think Tennessee was up like 16-14 or something like that. But then the tidal wave from the Wolverines came when they went on, I believe it was a 20-0 run, right? 21-0 run. It really wasn't fun to watch, I'm sorry. But your boy Yaxel Lindenberg was off the charts. I mean, he
Yaxel Lindenberg, where do I begin? Where do I begin?
I mean, you look at the box score for him. Obviously, he was the leading scorer in this one. He had, he had 27 points in 35 minutes. He had 3 threes, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. I was so impressed, Drew, throughout watching this game, just how Michigan was able to get out in transition and just pound Tennessee. It really wasn't even like they had to turn it on 100%. There just came a certain point when they were playing so free and easy.
Yeah.
Tennessee has a lot of problems too. I honestly don't know how they got as far as they did.
I watched the whole thing.
They're very inefficient.
They have an onslaught of problems. They're inefficient shooting the basketball. They're not good at the free throw line. The only reason they got that far was their offensive rebounding, which will only get you so far if you can't shoot the basketball. which what St. John's has a similar problem with. We'll talk about later. But yeah, they just have these onslaught of problems, and it caught up to them. They played a team where you have to play 40 minutes of perfect basketball, which was very evident and that didn't happen. They got outplayed and they got outcoached. And another problem, they got in foul trouble early, quickly.
Yes.
They
They got
were
in foul
Michigan was
trouble.
in the bonus at the 10-minute mark. And
Yeah, no,
all three of their bigs had 2 fouls within the first 10 minutes.
right. Yeah. What's his face? Number 10 over there.
Amen. Cold.
He was in foul trouble.
They
I
were in foul
remember.
trouble.
Yeah, and you look at this box score too. Like I was watching this game and the Mets kind of going back and forth,
Simultaneously.
whatever. Tough loss for the Mets yesterday too.
That happens.
It happens. 2 out of 3 still.
They're going
We'll talk about the Mets.
161-1.
But watching, going into this game, the guys on the CBS panel, they were talking about the importance of Gillespie, who is in the front court for Tennessee, and how he needed to get out right away and be an impact player. I mean, you look at the final box score, he was by far their leading scorer. He had 21 points, but the Michigan defense early on made him suffocate as well.
Yeah, they were suffocating. That Michigan defense, I followed them all season. There's a reason they're in the top. I think they're number 1 in Ken Pom ranking on defense. They smother people and just choke you out, basically.
It was also a really bad matchup for Tennessee because they're, in general, a team
They
that...
matched up size-wise the best to anyone.
Yeah,
But
size-wise,
skill-wise,
but at the same time...
skill-wise, it was like this much of a difference. Michigan's up here and Tennessee's down here.
Right, but Michigan is holding teams to really low field goal percentages. Scoring's a struggle for a lot of teams. And Tennessee is a team that came in and that wasn't the name of their game. They won a lot because of offensive rebounding. Michigan also had a lot of size, so their opportunities for O boards were limited. And bad matchup for them. I guess size-wise you're right, but still, they probably they really didn't stand a chance going in here. They shot 32%. Michigan
Yeah,
shot
I was about to say that. They
52%.
shot 32% from the field. You're not winning like that.
No, not
It's
at all.
impossible to win a game like that.
Yeah, and especially once, like you said, you find yourself in as early as foul trouble as they do, then you're really behind the 8 ball because their best players right from the start. You're trying to not use them towards the end of the first half, but the wheels were coming off, so you want to play damage control at that point and have your best players on the court, but they're also in foul troubles.
Yeah, it was just Rick Barnes. They couldn't compete
Yeah, no,
against
they
a
could
team
not.
like Michigan. You cannot get yourself in foul trouble because they'll make you pay, and you have to do the damage control because once they get going, it's hard to stop. It's like a freight train barreling down.
Yep, 95 points for the Wolverines. 4 out of their 5 starters, also in double figures. The only guy that didn't do it was what's his
Perez
name?
Johnson.
No, he had 12. Kudo, is that how you say it?
Cadeau, the point guard, yeah.
No, yeah, he had 8. So only guy not in
Not
double
bad.
figures for them. But big win for you guys. I know all the Go Blue faithful are happy. You, Dave Portnoy, the rest of you suckers. But nice.
This is known Michigan fan Matt O'Connor talking. Like, no one's seen these for the most part. There are videos of him in my house in all Michigan gear watching them win the Rose Bowl. So don't take his word for anything.
Look, my college football fandom's a mess. I've gotten
College football's also not your main thing. Guys, I'm messing around here. Matt's not a huge college football guy like I am. Matt's a sports guy.
Yeah, no, look, this year more than any year, I was very much into it. Very, very much into it, especially with the Jets and how high they're picking. I was, looking at all the best players and everything, evaluating what we want to do. And ultimately, I really like Arvell Reese. But that's another topic.
That's a topic for the NFL drafts in like 3 weeks.
I know, it's really coming. What a great
same
time
weekend
for
as the
sports
Masters.
calendar. It's great. But, okay, I'll touch on St. John's in a little bit. We'll go over a questionable decision from Rick Pitino down the stretch in that game. But, Drew, you're the Michigan fan. We'll probably talk before their following game. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see how the week unfolds. You said it before we got on the call. I don't necessarily think so. We were also going back and forth over this with Tex. Presumably, the narrative right now going into the Final Four is that the championship game is already taking place on the west side of the bracket between Arizona and Michigan. Now, yes, as far as strength goes, pound for pound, those two teams are very much superior to both UConn and Illinois, who are playing on the other side. But you saw what UConn did yesterday. This is going to be their third national championship in 4 years.
If they beat Illinois.
Best coach right now in college basketball, and Danny Hurley. There's no doubt. And they're 2.5-point underdogs against Illinois going into this game. But I think we can all agree, if they find a way to advance and upset Illinois as well, they have a chance against either one of these teams. But specifically looking at your matchup against Arizona, how do you guys feel that you match up against them? You're both two teams that have really shown complete dominance on your way to the bracket.
This is the matchup everyone wants to see. Like, these are the best two teams in college basketball going on it, where they're going to match up very well together. Like, Arizona is so good, LeBron James' son doesn't play. Right. So there's, that's like just kind of funny, food for thought. But, yeah, these two teams, it's like a heavyweight super fight. Like, this is like Mike Tyson versus like Evander Holyfield type fight. Yeah. Two of the best just going at it. It's going to be a war. It's going to be a slugfest. And I'm excited. My big thing is, who's going to step up and make the big play? Two, for Arizona, it's who's going to stop Lendeborg. For Michigan, it's who's going to stop Koa Pete. Two projected lottery picks.
Yeah, that kid, that Arizona kid you just mentioned is insane.
Yeah, Koa Pete, well. He's so good.
Such a great player. Lendeborg, obviously tremendous player as well. We talked about him before we got on here.
It should be exciting, this game. I'll definitely be tuned in. I don't know where, but I'm excited. Like, this is the game everyone wants to watch.
Absolutely. Expect a lot of scoring, too.
Oh,
Both teams are really top to bottom, have a lot of really good scorers, gifted scorers. We've seen Michigan's defense really be able to dial it up here as we've gone down the stretch, but they're a two-way team. They're such a well-balanced team. Arizona has exemplified the same thing. Arizona, to me, throughout this tournament, there have been, and they started this tournament with the Sharks of LIU, who they beat by a very large margin. They have
been a buzzsaw. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're right. They've been a buzzsaw, but they've also not been. Maybe this could be a concern too for both of these teams. Neither have really been battle tested along the way here. Neither have had to encounter, a game where things got tight in the second half or a little bit scary.
I mean, I guess the Michigan-Alabama game in that first half, you could say Michigan got battle tested.
Right.
They're down 2 at the half, and they didn't really play their best basketball. And then the second half, they made adjustments and just blew their doors off. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody should be tuned in. I would agree with that sentiment that this is essentially the national championship. If Illinois wins, give me either Michigan or Arizona, and I'll put the house on it. But if UConn wins, which I think they will, even though they're not favored to,
then it gets a little more interesting.
It's going to be very interesting,
count out Dan
especially
Hurley.
if UConn can shoot.
Yeah, you can't count out Dan Hurley.
Yeah, and Danny Hurley, who...
Yeah, if they beat Illinois, he'll go to his third national championship in 4 years, which hasn't happened since, what's his face with UCLA?
Oh, John Woolen?
Yeah, the great John Woolen.
Yeah.
UCLA going to three out of 4 national championships and winning them all.
John Woolen won 10. I want to say 10 national championships with UCLA. UCLA, yeah.
Some crazy number like that. I saw it today. I don't remember it.
Yeah, he was some coach, man.
Oh, yeah.
Coached a lot of the greats too. Coached Coach Wilt. Coached a lot. I mean, really, that was the most juggernaut of a team.
The glory days of UCLA basketball.
What?
the glory days of UCLA.
Yeah, for sure. The golden age, for sure. Most dominant team in the history of college sports. I mean, there's no debate in my mind. But truly looking forward to those games and everything. Real quickly, look, at the end of the day, we opened last show talking about St. John's. It was a big deal around the hemisphere of New York sports and everything. Everybody loves to talk about the Johnnies. Come this time of year, they made a run. These last 2 years have been special. Back-to-back regular season Big East champions, along with the tournament. Really revitalized by the head coach, of course, one of the greats of all time, Rick Pitino. So we talk about them a lot. Back-to-back 30 seasons as well. But I've been hearing a lot from a lot of different people on Sports Talk Radio and The Fan, which I reference on this podcast a lot because I'm a big listener, that they just got outplayed by the better team. But, Drew, I tend to lean more towards what you said. Yeah, they got beat by the better team, correct. Duke was a 1, they were a 5. Duke had more talent than they did. But with that being said, St. John's blew this game. They were the better team for 90% of the game.
36 minutes of perfect basketball. They had them where they wanted. They had their foot on their neck. Weren't they up like 10 with 6 minutes to go?
Yeah, they were up double digits, 6 minutes to go.
They had them in their grasp. Like, this is like watching, like, almost like a fight where it's like, one guy's got him on the ropes, like, just looking for the kill shot, and then the other fighter slips out and just starts throwing bombs. And it's just like, as I pointed out earlier, and you kind of said, they were right there. They played about 35 minutes of perfect basketball. Then the last 5 minutes, it just crumbled. They couldn't sustain it. And it sucks to see. And I'm probably their biggest hater out of everyone we know.
Yeah, no, you are. For you to say that goes to show that it definitely was what was a gut-wrenching loss for St. John's.
Just a sucker punch.
Yeah. And couple guys who really came up big for Duke. Duke stars, they did take over this game. There wasn't any absolute chaos that took place like the end of the UConn game that, tipped the outcome one way or another. It was really Duke stars who turned on the Jets. Yeah, Isaiah Evans was awesome. He was their leading scorer. He had 25 points. Cameron Boozer, the best player on the court, dropped 22, double-double at 10 rebounds as well. And it was tremendous. Duke was up 77-74 with 32 seconds left. Boozer misses a layup. Zuby Ejiofor draws a foul with 14.7 to go. And he made one of the 2 free throws, cut it to a 2-point game. Then Evans goes back to the line. He makes 1 or 2. It's 78-75. But then Dylan Darling, who was the hero, obviously, Church Bell's last game with the big layup against Kansas, he airballed, missing that 3. And then Duke got the ball back with 1.5 left, and Boozer knocked down a pair. But like I said, Duke stars, you give them a lot of credit. Evans was awesome in this game. But to me, the difference maker, the X factor for Duke was Caleb Foster, who disappeared. He got hurt, actually, at the end of the UConn game. They didn't get nearly as much as they did from him in this St. John's game. But he was awesome off the bench. 11 points, 5 out of 8 from the field. Had a couple of big baskets down the stretch for them. And then, obviously, Evans and Boozer combining for 47 points. So you give him credit. Great run for St. John's once again. Zuby was awesome in this one. He couldn't have done much more than he did. But last thing I want to mention with this, and it's interesting, Drew, because the end of last year when St. John's got ousted by Kansas back in the round of 32, R.J. Lewis, who's a Big East player of the year, the best player for St. John's all season long consistently, he struggled. He had a poor shooting day, didn't have his game against Kansas. And I think that was more of a disciplinary thing than it was with Ruben Prey. Ruben Prey didn't do anything disciplinary wrong. But Rick Pitino pulled him down the stretch in the second half of that game when St. John's was making a push back. Now, this year, the most efficient player, maybe not the best,
Yeah,
but
Ruben
one of
Prey.
the better players for St. John's on the court in this game, Ruben Prey, 4 for 4 from downtown. He was a three-point hero for them. All of his points came from three. He had 12 on the day. He wasn't on the court down the stretch here. So I think for different reasons than for R.J. Lewis. But, I mean, can we pin Rick Pitino for back-to-back very questionable calls in the St. John's elimination game?
I have no idea. I mean, as you said, you sit your most efficient player at that point. I couldn't tell you could pin it on one person. I
No,
mean,
yeah, well, I believe.
yeah,
I am
I
not
guess
pinning
you could.
St. John's loss on Rick Pitino. I
Yeah,
mean,
you
that would
can't
just not be
fully blame.
fair.
I don't know. It's kind of like one of those ticky-tacky things
I hear you,
where it
but
goes
it's just,
both ways. Because you might be,
especially because they were both, there's really no connection there. They were
yeah,
both
there's no
out at
correlation
the end of the
between the
game for
two.
different reasons, I would suspect. And I heard somebody say, a sports radio caller on the Fan today, say that the reason he wasn't in down the stretch was because he and Zubi Ejiofor don't really play a lot together on the floor. The St. John's doesn't like to run that double big thing. And obviously they had to have Zubi in at the end of the game, the best player who had 17 and had a decent game.
Yeah.
So subsequently they removed Prey. But it's not like they never do it. They do it sometimes. And if there was any time to run that double big
It would have
lineup,
been then.
it's when Ruben was playing as well as he was. So we'll see. We'll see if
And I'd
Ruben
like to
Prey.
make one more point about this game. That last shot you brought up with Dylan Darling, he rushed it. And I think there was 4 seconds on the clock when he let it go. Like, they had time. If I'm not going to sit around and say, oh, I would have done this. I think the best thing they could have done was have Darling drive, because the defense would collapse in
Right.
and have him kick it out to somebody else to take the shot. But I get it, though. I get it. That's just what I think would have worked better. But at the end of the day, what happens, happens. One play isn't going to... 9 out of 10 times, one play won't impact the game that much.
Yeah, Dylan Darling never really found his stride throughout this whole tournament. He was a lot better this game than he was last game, where I think he missed like 16 shots in a row.
Yeah, I think anything's an improvement from last game.
Yeah, prior to the buzzer beater, he missed a ton in a row. He was 3 of 7 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3, 8 points. But you're right, he probably rushed that last shot a little bit, and it just stinks. St. John's, I think they'll look back on that one and they'll watch the film, and they would have liked to tighten up their defense overall. Those last 5 minutes, I understand that Duke's got a lot of good scorers, and a lot of their better scorers were just knocking down, some jumpers with the hand in their face, but maybe would have been a little bit more aggressive in the front court if you're St. John's down the stretch, possibly. But still a good run. And I'll put a bow on the St. John's by saying this. They had to beat Kansas.
Oh, it was imperative.
They had to beat Kansas. They had to advance to a Sweet 16 for the first time this century. That was a must. Otherwise, the season would have been I don't want to use the word colossal failure. That seems exaggerated because they did do a lot of good in the regular season. But the season definitely would have been a disappointment. They would have come up short of their ultimate goal. They did come up short of their ultimate goal, but it would have left a really bitter taste in everybody's mouth, and Pitino's mouth, and St. John's community and fans' mouth if they didn't get to a Sweet 16 and take down Kansas, who was a higher seed than them. But they get to this Duke game. It still stings, man. I'm not a diehard St. John's fan, but I got to be honest with you. If I was, I leave that game pretty pissed off because it felt like they could have done it.
Yeah.
But they did what they had to do this season. It was a successful season.
Yeah, I mean, Rick Pitino got an extension.
And Rick Pitino got an extension. And he's now the second highest paid coach in the Big East. So bravo to Rick. And
notable St. Dom's alum.
Yeah, we got to knock off the word notable there. You You wouldn't know it if you didn't go there. But I did read a Post article a couple of weeks ago, and it said it was talking about his beginnings or whatever. He grew up in not Astoria, I can't remember, some part of Queens, and then went to St. Dominic High School. So we got a shout on the New York Post.
Woo!
You know,
Our small little Catholic school.
Felt good to read. So, but yeah, and that pretty much is all I want to cover as far as March Madness. Did a little preview on this weekend's Final Four action, chaos at Capital One Arena yesterday with UConn taking down Duke, and the Johnny season ends in the Sweet 16. We also had opening weekend of Major League Baseball, and as much as I want to begin with Bo Bichette and his struggles and how bad he looked at the plate and his timing is off and he struck out a bunch of times, and how the Mets third base coach needs to be fired after just one weekend into
Three games, dude. There's been 3 games.
We got to talk about the New York Yankees to start this off.
Utter domination of the San Francisco Giants.
It was complete, utter domination. I mean, 2 games through, Drew. We were on. Well, right now we're still. We got the Mariners coming up tonight for a 3-game set. But 2 games through this season, Yankees on pace to go 162-0 and allow no runs. They allowed 1 run the entire series. They allowed just 1 run. That was on Sunday. Ties the mark for the second fewest in the first 3 games of a season since 1900. And that's not just the Yankees. That's all across baseball. First time in franchise history that they start the season with consecutive shutouts for the Yankees. And look, man, Judge, obviously back-to-back home runs. Game 2, not back, but he goes deep.
Home runs in 2 games.
He goes deep in Game 2 and 3 of that series after getting off to a woeful start with the Golden Sombrero on opening day back on Wednesday. First one of his since 2024. But look, offense was great. Opening day as well. Let me give a shout to the bottom of the order, man. Caballero, McMahon, guys manufacturing. We win 7-0 with no home runs. That's always a great recipe for the Yankees when they're scratching across runs without the long ball. We all know the long balls are going to come in general from this lineup. So when you see them doing it alternative ways, that brings joy to your heart as a Yankee fan. But man, the 2 headlines from this series to me was Fried and Schlittler. And I'll even throw Will Warren in there because he pitched fine on Sunday. But Fried and Schlittler were phenomenal in their first starts of the season. First Yankee duo since Roger Clemens and Andy Pettitte back in 2003.
Compared to
each have scoreless starts in the team's first 2 games of the season. I believe Fried went I think they both went 5 1/3. I know they both went a little bit over 5. Schlittler, he was on a pitch count because he had, I forget what it was. He had something nagging at the beginning of his spring training. So
you want to kind of just ease him in.
Exactly. So his pitch count was capped at 70 going into his first start. But he was Schlittler, Fried did his thing. He was good. We've come to expect that out of Max. I mean, he's been, until we get Garrett Cole back, who hopefully picks up where he left off, Fried has been a bona fide ace on this Yankees staff. He's a stopper. He's got great stuff. Obviously, disappointing postseason. But, I wasn't surprised what I saw from Max. But the continuation of the brilliant pitching from Cam Schlittler is such an encouraging sight for the Yankees and their fans. It's remarkable. 8 strikeouts on Friday against the Giants. 1 hit. No walks across 68 pitches in 5 1/3 innings. He's got a 1.86 ERA and is almost striking out 31% in his last 12 starts. And he's doing it, Drew, off of a variation of 3 different kinds of fastballs, pretty much. He's got one
fastball, cutter, sinker.
Yes, exactly. That combination of those 3.
And then he throws that hammer of a curveball.
And he's developing a slider right now.
Yeah. I will say this. I hate the Yankees. Thank God he is not on the Braves anymore.
What?
Max Fried.
Fried, yeah.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Max Fried. My bad.
Yeah, but going back to the...
My bad. I thought we were talking about Fried.
Yeah. No, all good. With Schlittler, man.
He's nasty.
He's so young, and his development has just been first of all, it's at a fast and furious rate. I mean, the kid has put on like 20 pounds of muscle in the past year. He rocketed through the minor leagues. He impressed a lot of people last year in spring training. But then his fastball at that point in time was only sitting around 93, 94 miles per hour. And then over the course of the minor leagues after spring training, he picked up so much velocity. He put on 4 or 5 miles per hour in that fastball. And then due to a multitude of injuries to the starting rotation in July, he gets a chance. I was at his opening start against the Mariners back at Yankee Stadium in July. He was dominant that night, and he's taken this opportunity, and he has run with it. It's been amazing to watch, and he's just a great pitch. It's easy heat for him, too. It's easy heat.
Yeah,
his wind-up, his delivery.
His delivery's like funky. He just looks effortless. The ball just pops out of his hand.
Pops out of his hand.
I mean, the guy's like 6'5", right?
Yes, he's big.
Oh, yeah, that ball just looks effortless.
Yeah, I love watching him pitch, and hopefully this keeps going, man. The rotation, reinforcements on the way soon. Carlos Rodon expected to come back in just a few weeks. And then, Cole's progression has probably been ahead of schedule, but they don't want to rush it because, he's older.
You never want to rush back from TJ.
You don't want to do it. Look, when he went down in the beginning of last year's spring training, if you were to tell Yankee brass that he would make an appearance in spring training, late in spring training against the Red Sox the following year, you would have thought he would have probably come back before mid-May or like June 1st, which is his target date. I shouldn't say mid-May. June 1st is like the target date for him. You probably would have thought he would come back earlier than that.
Yeah.
But he's not going to. They want to stick to that date because they want him to feel 110%. And we're totally good with that, especially if the rotation is doing as well as they are right now.
Yeah,
great series for the Yankees. Their defense was really good. They caught the ball well, as Aaron Boone mentioned. And I loved what I saw across the board. Judge, man, all the trolls, all the fans, all the haters on social media.
Judge.
And then he does that. Then he goes deep off Robbie Ray.
And then he's like, hold my beer. Let me lock in really quick. Yeah, Arson Judge became Aaron Judge. But, any baseball fan knows that it's going to come. He's too good to not be that good.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Coming off a disappointing WBC in general, we've come accustomed to seeing Judge with the quick turnarounds now. I remember a few years ago, too. Everybody forgets this. 2 years ago, through April, he was hitting below the Mendoza line. Historically one of the worst months of his career. The power wasn't there. The plate discipline wasn't there. The average wasn't there. And then from May on, he was just historically good. Surges back, is hitting nearly 400 up until through August after getting off to such an abysmal start, and then wins MVP, and then follows it up last year by winning another MVP.
Yeah, just casually hitting 330 with 50 tanks.
Yeah. So, great series for the Yanks. Like I said, when we began the Yanks conversation, now they will be in Seattle for 3 before they make the home opener, before they go back to the East Coast, and they welcome in the Marlins of Miami for the home opener. That'll be at 1:30 p.m. on Friday. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to the series in Seattle. And the Mets, real quick, we'll talk about the Mets. They get 2 out of 3.
Metros.
The Metropolitans. Drew, you were in the building on opening day.
Oh, I was.
By the way, let's not spend too much time talking about this, but man, O'Neal Cruz cannot play center field.
No, not at all. The guy is a liability out there. I think I could go out there and play better center field.
Yeah, so, the bases are loaded on the first play. Brett Beatty comes to the plate, for anybody who didn't watch. I was watching from work.
Yeah, I was watching in the stadium. It was so funny.
Brett Beatty hits a line drive towards center field. A nice, well-hard hit ball.
He hit it pretty hard.
Pretty hard hit ball.
Change up.
But baseball 101, they teach you this in freaking middle school. You go back on a ball like that. The first step is always back. And O'Neal Cruz, just like like a rookie 5th grade outfielder, charges straight in, just for no reason whatsoever, flies in his first move. The ball goes soaring over his head, a bases clearing hit for Beatty. And then the next batter, Jorge Polanco, he's not wearing sunglasses, pop fly right up there, mislocates the ball, drops right in front of him.
Yeah, it was Marcus Semien hits a lousy pop up.
Semien.
Yeah, it's all right. Polanco almost got caught by Luis Robert coming around third, by the way. It was so funny.
Right.
Yeah, and he just overruns it. Like I'm like hysterically laughing.
Yeah, that was nuts.
You gotta feel bad for Paul Skeens too. He didn't have his best stuff, by the way. I'm like there, like they give up the home run in the first inning. I'm like, ah, great. Now they're gonna go face Paul Skeens. Like this should be fun.
Yeah,
and they got to him. It was just like I don't know. It was just like really weird. Just bad play. I don't know why Jake Mangum wasn't starting in center field. He was very good defensively.
Yeah, Mangum was acquired from Tampa Bay this offseason by the Pirates. He had a really good year last year.
Yeah, so did Brian.
He showed in the series too. He's a pesky player.
Yeah, he's
plays good outfield. Pesky hitter, laid down one, I think, at one point in this series. Yeah, he's a good player. Pirates lineup overall to me, and not to get too deep into the Pirates.
Brandon Barry Bonds.
Yeah, but they have a chance to. I think they have a chance to be
they
decent.
definitely improved their lineup. Ryan O'Hearn, Marcelo Zuna, Lau, Mangum. Yeah, 100%.
Right. And what a series Brandon Lau had as well.
Oh, my God.
What a series he had. I mean, I think the Mets, he was a free agent this offseason. Mets probably should have picked up him because he showed he likes sitting at Citi Field. 2 dingers on opening day. One of them seemed to kind of be carried by the wind. The other one was just a bomb.
Yeah, the second one, like, he hit it. I'm like, yep, that ball's way out of here.
Yeah, way out of here. Let's talk about this from a Mets perspective a little bit. So they win 11-7 on opening day. Bat team ready to go, whatever. And I want to focus in on one particular. They win 4. I want to talk about 2 of the new acquisitions for the Mets. You want to start off with the good or the bad?
Well, I was going to bring up a different point.
Go ahead. You're the voice of the Mets here.
Oh, Carson Bench.
Yeah.
Struggles his first 2 at-bats, strikes out. Like, I get it. Like, your first at-bat in the big leagues, it's Paul Skeens. I get it. Kid's probably heart's beating out of his chest. Second at-bat, he strikes out. He walks in his third at-bat. I think it kind of relaxed him. He's like, okay, I can do this. I'm on base. Then the next at-bat, he hits a home run.
He hits a home run. It was a slider middle in. He was just all over it.
Oh, yeah, the
Pirates reliever hung it. He banged it. You give the kid so much credit, especially
100%. Like
coming after 2 rough at bats. There was no doubt in that ball. He's got great charge in his bat.
He's a very good hitter. He hit 370 in spring training, and then the next hitter, Francisco Alvarez, goes top 10.
Absolute tank.
Oh my God. Like, I'm like, he hits it. I'm like, see ya. That ball's way out of here.
Yeah.
Matty V with a great call. Top tank. And he goes, Santa Maria. I made sure to watch it. He said he goes Santa Maria. Great sight.
Yeah, fantastic.
But now we will get to your point. I guess we'll start with the bad.
Yeah, we'll start with let's start with the
we
bad.
know what
Let's get it out of the way.
The offensive
Let's just get it out of the way right here, now.
The offensive woes of the first 3 games for Bo Bichette. Look, it's early in the season, new environment, stuff like this. There's 162 games. I'm not going to push the panic button on him yet. Booing him after 3 games, it's kind of eyewash. I get it. Struggling a little bit. But perennially, he's been one of the best hitters in the sport. He'll come around.
Look, what was he? 0 for 9, 5 strikeouts, something like that. The numbers were awful. Maybe 6 strikeouts. Had 3 yesterday. Bad series for Bo. That's not typical of, especially the K's, guy who does not strike out very often.
He doesn't strike out a lot.
But actually, I want to spin it more, and didn't look great at third, too. A few offline throws. He's still a work in progress with those throws.
Yeah, it's a new position. I get it. He's a professional. He's been in the league for a while. I'll cut him some slack. We're 3 games into the season. he's too good to not be to play at this level all year. So I'm not gonna like press the big red panic button yet.
The negatives are the negatives for the outcome and the results. The results just were not there. If you were expecting him to, as a struggling shortstop, pick up third base seamlessly and flawlessly,
Yeah,
your
like that's
expectations
just
were
unreasonable. It's not like
unreasonable.
It's not
Exactly.
like Manny
But
Machado acting like an
I
A-Rod.
want to talk about actually more of a good thing with him because he
Okay.
was booed yesterday at Citi Field after whatever it was, his second or third strikeout of the day
Yeah,
when Met
abysmal.
fans were airing their or voicing their frustrations with him. And we've seen a lot of athletes file through this New York sports world and they make excuses. They can try and push it back or not take hands up accountability or berate the fans for booing or be Evan Neal and tell the fans that they flip burgers and hot dogs for a living. Who are they to criticize me? But Bo Bichette put on a absolute class act of
Yeah,
how
he
to treat
took
the
it on
New
the
York
chin.
media and
He's
how to
like,
handle the New York media. Because when he was asked about the boos and his reaction to that, his words were, thought they should have been booing earlier, probably before the last strikeout. I mean, perfect response, very Giancarlo Stanton-esque to just be like, yeah, I sucked. I expect more out of myself. Those boos are
they're
totally
important
fine.
to
I
it.
need to be better.
Yeah.
So that's a great sign from Bo. Bo's going to be just fine, man. I really think he will. It's 3 games. All it takes is for him to have a multi-knock night tonight or tomorrow, and this will be forgotten about. But I just wanted to point that out because I thought that that was really admirable for how he handled it. So,
100%.
yeah. And the other Met that I want to mention, who was also paid, who's also pretty well compensated this offseason at $20 million a year, is Luis Robert, who had the 3-run walk-off shot again in the 10th or the 11th inning.
Well, I
I
think
want
it
to
was
say
the
the 10th.
11th.
Or maybe you're right, the
It might
11th.
have been the 11th. No, I think the 10th. I think they got the bases loaded with nobody out and just squandered. Yeah, I think it
Right,
was the 11th, something like that. I don't remember. But
exactly. But
yeah,
I want to give a round of applause to him because
one clap.
he looks just like he's been lifted. I've heard other people. I won't use the same
Reborn,
phrasing
kind of
that
like
they
a
use.
rebirth.
He has been re-energized, rebirthed with a good organization. Sometimes you see this from athletes, how a change of scenery really makes all the difference. Man, that is the case for Robert. He looked renewed in spring training. He comes in here. He's got a nice diving catch on opening day,
Yeah,
and then
he goes 2 for 3 on opening day, 2 for 3, 2 for 4, a couple
2 for
ribbies.
3. Had a couple of walks as well. Showed a great eye throughout opening day. That first at bat was
10
outstanding. I
pitch
don't
at
know if
bat
you
against
saw.
Paul Skeens, draws the walk.
Paul Skeens was like an 11 pitch at bat, just fouling off pitch after pitch
Yeah,
after
just
pitch,
battling up there.
battling up there, and then he's the hero on the second game of the season with the walk-off shot. Absolutely crushed that ball.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you got to be excited if you're a Met fan about Luis Robert because
100%.
we all know the potential. We all know the lightning in that man's bat. We know he plays. We know he's an instant upgrade for the Met center field defense compared to what they've had in the past. And he's
Don't slander
he's
my
very
don't slander
encouraging
my
for a
favorite
series.
player.
What?
Don't you ever slander my favorite player.
Tyrone Taylor?
Roan, hell yeah. He's got to be in the lineup more.
He's actually a good defensive center fielder.
Oh, he's a
but
great defensive center fielder. The badass to come around. I mean, that's kind of like a running joke with us, me and Tyrone. And I'm saying that I'm going to go buy his jersey one day. Be the one fan of the stadium with it.
Hey, man, you got to give him credit. He's still on this roster. He still made it. So.
He's their 4th outfielder.
Yeah, he is. Yep.
Yeah, Luis Robert, I think part of it now on the White Sox, he was their best player. He felt the pressure. Here with the Mets, he doesn't have to be the guy. But I think he's going to be their X factor this year because he can play more loose. There's no pressure on him.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how his progression moves going forward.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a long-ass season, man. He's probably going to have runs where he strikes out too often or I don't know, goes in extended slumps. It's probably going to happen, but I think all in all, he's going to be a lot closer to the player that was daunting potential when he came into the league and had a great rookie year. I think he'll be closer to that player than the player that he's been the last 2 seasons. At least I hope so for you Met fans. Yeah. But no, just wanted to talk about those guys. Mets obviously in St. Louis now, and maybe for Bichette, getting away from the home crowd a little bit. The fans probably feeling really amped up after signing the big deal, even though there's a bunch of opt-outs and he could get after it and after 1 year. Probably feeling amped up his first series with the new team after spending 7-8 years with the Blue Jays. So we'll see if he turns it around in St. Louis. Any last thoughts on the Mets?
It's exciting. You know, like I think their lineup's a little more complete. I think they're a more complete roster. And, you know, just got to stack series wins. I'm excited. Like I think they're better this year than last year. As much as like the fan favorites like Nimmo and Alonso and all them, they had to go. They weren't winning.
We talked about it all off season. They had to shake up the core.
Yeah, and they did, and I think it's going to work off better for them.
Yeah. Definitely. And you know what's funny with the Mets and the Pirates playing in the opening series of the year? What 2 more teams in baseball have undergone more change than them? That was
it's just like changing of the guard.
Sub headline going into that series, but New York baseball looking good to start off the season. We're so thrilled baseball's back. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it a lot more going forward, but there's always a juice that comes out of the opening week. So, Drew, thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
It's a good time.
What?
It's always a good time.
Always a great time. It's been an absolutely jam-packed last few sports days. Was so excited to come on and cover it all with you. And thanks for our listeners. Hopefully you're all caught up at this point. And we will talk to you soon.
Peace.